All right, we're back. This is going to be the first weekly breakdown video for the year. We got no Sand. He dips as usual, but luckily we got a new co-host, permanent co-host on. You lose, Air Chomp, formally. This is going to be a good season. I don't currently have a team. I'm kind of staking out Bread's -11 through 2 weeks team. Beast dumpster fire of a team that we're going to go into here shortly. But the content's going to be coming. This is going to be my little test run on editing. Let me know how you like it. I know I do like you loses Rangers hat, and let's get into it. So first matchup's going to be Dress Down versus Beast. You lose. You got any notes on this matchup?
Yeah, I was taking a look at this while we were setting up our production for this one. How I know I did a write up on this of Beast's team in my power rankings, and I'm pretty sure I ranked him like 15. He's pretty low, but this is pretty bad in terms of matchup too. Iron Bundle hits quite literally everything on this team outside of Tatsugiri with a water move. And then it obviously still has freeze dry. So there's that. Staraptor hits pretty much everything on this team. Maybe with like one exception. I don't know. I personally don't see how Beast can win this matchup. Just Down has too much pedigree on her team in terms of like roster top to bottom. The one win con I can possibly see that Beast can potentially leverage for this is a mix of two things. One, Beast has to bring Sandy Shock. That has to automatically come, and this has to be the start of the show for him. Two, he has to pray that Just Down doesn't bring Palo Sand. So he gets free electric type attacks off willy-nilly whenever Beast wants. That's the only possible, maybe potential way that you win. Oh, and you have to scarf the Sandy Shock. Outside of that, yeesh. I don't know how you have anything that tank hits from Bundle and Staraptor. Garganackle is going to be pretty much a menace. I did some calcs. Gengar can only 2-hit KO it with pretty much only Focus Blast, so you still have to hit the Focus Blast. I don't really see a path to victory here for Beast unless he pulls out some insane tech that I'm not aware of personally. I got Just Down 5-0 here. I don't think it's going to be remotely close.
Interesting. All right, so 5-0. Mine's not too far different. Now I see a pathway to victory here, but this is a pathway to victory for a high-level player, not a 12-year-old from New Hampshire. Now maybe he can dip into his pedigree, the family pedigree. I see a little bit of a pathway. To me, Beast can win this game if he can take out Iron Bundle early. He can do that a couple of ways. So the roster I have him bring in, I've got him bring in regular Lycanroc, and similar to how Sand brought a sash on his Lycanroc last week, I think Beast should follow that lead. Right off rip, if he leads with this Mon and DD leads with Iron Bundle, she might hard switch. If she doesn't, she risks taking the Accelerock damage. But you don't even necessarily have to click that move. You can still get off a Stone Edge. And somehow if that Iron Bundle stays in without a flip turn, which flip turn will come if that's the matchup, we'll have the Oko chance. But Beast, further down the line on this team, he's going to have to overcompensate to get Iron Bundle out and then just kind of like claw and scratch the rest of the matchup. So Flamigo, similar to Lycanroc, it's going to have to overcompensate to get this Iron Bundle. I've got it coming with a Scarf, which is the common set, but it is a little bit limiting. Luckily in his favor though, the other two is high value mons on the roster for dress down being King Gambit and Garganackle. Both don't also want to take close combat, so he's going to be able to spam them. And other than Iron Bundle, there's not too much speed on dress down's roster, and I really can't see Oricorio coming here. After the Flamigo, I agree.
Flamigo.
I agree with you, brother.
You got has Terra flying.
She does, but you're gonna have to spend that off early, which would be in B's favor. But her team is very well formed around that Terra type, especially like King Gambit. But I agree with what you said. Like Sandy Shocks has to come in this matchup. I have a little bit different of an angle for it. So to me, if he brings the scarf, it only helps for the Iron Bundle. So I have an assault vest coming so that you can take the hit, kill Iron Bundle, and keep moving. So something like Staraptor, without a scarf, Sandy Shocks is gonna outspeed, and pretty much the rest of this roster, it's gonna outspeed. A lot of those Paradox Mons, hovering around like 570-ish BST. So even though the thing doesn't look like it has 101 speed, it's somewhat fast. After that, I've got Tinkaton coming with a utility set. This is more so of a typing thing than its potential. Although Gigaton Hammer, if you want to invest, but it's not a very strong mon, but that is a very strong move. Cinderace with Expert Belt, a little bit of an odd set. You'll still be able to use Court Change. Gengar I have coming as the second Scarf user for this team, and it's crucial that it comes with an Energy Ball. Now what Beast is going to bring is not going to be anything like this. I can see him bringing like Umbreon, which I don't know how it's necessarily going to play in this matchup. And I could definitely see him bring in Tatsugiri, which, like you were saying, catches one freeze dry and it's off the field. But I can see him bringing that for like rapid spin alone almost. Dress down, I have her bring in Booster Energy speed. And the reason for that is I don't think that she's going to go into Iron Bundle multiple times. I think when Iron Bundle is going to be in, it's just going to be focused on Alamoing and doing as much damage and taking as many things down with it. So you bring in Booster Energy with speed, and it allows you to outpace any possible Scarf users and pick whatever move you want. So this Mon has phenomenal stab options, can hit almost everything minimum neutral. It's just going to go off here. Garganackle is going to come. I've got to come in with a max special defense investment. I've got Staraptor coming scarfed, mainly because there's just not much speed on this roster, especially if Iron Bundle is to go down early. King Gambit, which can definitely exploit that Terra Flying typing. I've got it coming with an Assault Vest. Slowbro, I have full defensive investment with Rocky Helmet. And then to round out the roster, I've got Florges coming as a Cleric option. All in all, I have 4-0 dress down win. Who knows? I mean, Beast, 1 or 2 times a year, he surprises us, but it doesn't seem like this is going to be the week. So.
This, Chloe, is what we're going to do with Shift 4 and all the brands to toast. We are going to make them burn. Burn and go up in flames, because we're going to overcome their marketing. We're going to overcome all the bullshit that they've been putting our dealers and us through. And we're going to light them on fire, and not in a good way. Goodbye, Toast. See ya. you are really burnt toast.
All right. Next, we got Nashville Nidokings versus the Helgen Hydroigons. So we got Braves, Lazy Braves versus Blottle, however you say it. This matchup's a good one. Honestly, I think both these teams, while they don't have the firepower, both started off the season pretty hot. Obviously, Blottle was able to beat me. Braves was able to beat Beast last week. I think this matchup is personally pretty good, depending on if Braves actually puts in the work in this league this season.
It's a big hit.
As we all know, he didn't really update his team that much, if all, last season. So I think he has a pretty good pathway to victory, and it starts with Fluttermane. Fluttermane quite literally hits everything on this team, either with the stab ghost move or with the stab fairy move. I think keeping it in the back with the booster energy for some speed would do this thing a great service. The only threat is a Bandit Azumarill after rocks has pretty good chance to Oko. That would be what I would be a little scared of. Outside of that, it pretty much hits everything on this team. Maybe besides Blissey, but I don't really see Blattle bring Blissey in this matchup anyway. On the flip side, though, I think Blattle has a pretty good matchup into this as well. Starting with the Azumarill, he could either go Choice Band set, which is what I was anticipating last week, or this Trailblaze set, which I'm really, really liking. This generation, that move Trailblaze really helps the Azumarill out a lot, especially considering Braves' team isn't the fastest outside of Fluttermane, so you get a +1 Azumarill out there in speed, and you're outspeeding a lot of things. Well, I guess Barraskewda too, but I really don't think Barraskewda's coming in this matchup. Yeah, so personally, I have Blatto winning this matchup 3-0. I think that the combination of Azumarill and Tusk, Great Tusk, is a little too overwhelming for his opponent. I don't see Braves bringing Pelipper in this matchup. I think Azumarill can abuse it better than Barraskewda and Dreadnought can abuse it personally. So I think it would be a disservice to bring Pelipper and then therefore Barraskewda. I was a little confused as to why he brought Dreadnought last week. I don't think it does much in this matchup upcoming, outside of maybe hard countering Arcanine, but I mean, there's other options for that. So yeah, Blatto 3-0. I think this matchup, Braves has some opportunity with Fluttermane, but he has to play it really nice. So what are your thoughts?
I agree with you on some of those things. Like I don't think that Pelipper is coming here, but I actually disagree. I think that Barraskewda is going to come here. Okay. So I'll go into Braves' team first. I've got him bringing Fluttermane, obviously. But unlike you, I don't have booster energy coming on it. I think he's going to put specs on it. And I think he's going to put a booster energy on Iron Thorns. Then Breloom could be a possible lead with the time-proven set of a Focus Sash. Barraskewda I have coming here. It's already got the speed, so I have it coming banded. Then I have a Mudsdale set featuring Rest, Body Press, and Heavy Slam. And Bisharp, just like last week, Terra Bug. That was a good play by Braves. And I think the item will be Eviolite to get some of that bulk. And then, change the type over so it's not 4 times weak to fighting. But this team is pending if Braves is proactive enough to actually switch out his Pokemon. That's to be determined, but he's back making YouTube videos, so it's kind of looking like he's going to actually be invested this year, especially with if he had a win here. Oh my goodness, he'd be set up for a clear shot for the playoffs. Blotto displayed some great tech when he played you last week. I don't think he's going to run away with this game, though. I have him ultimately winning, and I'll get the margin here in a second. But I think he's going to bring similar mons to last week. I think Azumarill is going to come not with. I think it's going to come with Sap Sipper, if I'm being honest here, just so that it doesn't really have to worry about Breloom. And then Terra Ground option on it, so that you can kind of surprise Iron Thorns with with Ground Stab and Oko that. So if you can get on some sort of a tech run with Azumarill again, you don't necessarily need the more powerful ability. You just need the ability that's going to allow you to tech. But you're going to make up some of that power with Haxorus. So I really can see Haxorus coming here, play it standard. Arcanine coming with a bulky variant, obviously using a little bit of Intimidate there. Kilowattrel got a lot of action last week. I don't know if it was Specs, but that thing hit really hard. So if it was Specs last week, bring it again, man. That was impressive. I think Blissey needs to come here for the Flutter main. And then Great Tusk to set up hazards, potential spinner as well. All in all, though, I've got Blotto winning, but by a narrow 2-0. So I think the remaining two mons aren't necessarily going to be healthy. I think it's going to be a hard-fought, chippy game. So 1 or 2 turns could swing it here likely. All right, next up we've got Dolphin versus Little Thomas, also known as Davichi. I think this matchup is going to be fire. And people are already starting to nickname it the Tauros Bowl in honor of some bowls we've had in the past. We've had the Charizard, we've had the Fish Bowl when one of the fishes didn't even show up. But I think both Tauroses are going to show up here, and I think this match is going to be really, really good. So for Dolphin, I've got him bringing Clodsire, and I think it's crucial that this mon shows up, gets up Toxic Spikes, because Davichi has no poison to remove it just by coming in. I think he's going to take one of my Cerulege sets that Dress Down recommended. So that's going to be a weakness policy. And Endure. So Endure is going to be crucial to help you activate your weakness policy and limit the damage taken. Ensure that as long as the other user doesn't have priority, you're set up faster. Tauros Water. Oh yeah, it's coming. One of the crucial paths to victory for Dolphin. He has like literally no meta special attackers. He's got Electros though, big special threat. I think it's got 105 special attacks, so watch out, Thomas. But I think that he ends up spexing it. And hear me out. So a Grass Knot from Electros can Oko a Hippo without special investment. So if Thomas wants to run special investment on his Hippo purely for Electros, he could and make it a 2-hit. But there's really no, other than this on the roster, he's got Haunch Crow with like Heat Wave. He's got Cyclozar with maybe some Dracos, but nothing really that's gonna scare you. So I think Electros is coming for that reason. In addition, I've got Spiritomb coming with some bulk. And then Chien-Pao, you can run practically any Chien-Pao set, whether it's Life or Expert Bell, and it doesn't matter. Just make sure that you have a Sacred Sword on there. And if you do choose to bandit, you're going to have to bob and weave. So put some bulk on some of these mons so you can get back into Chandao. For Davichi, I've got him bringing Hydreigon with the normal Terra Steel set. Mimikyu's coming. And this is where I start to develop one of my world famous angles. So it's going to have Swords Dance, and the move sets are going to be similar to the normal Swords Dance. Where he's going to make a weird turn is he's going to put a Rocky helmet on that Mimikyu. Now we go down the list, right? Next mon that's going to show up is going to be Dondozo. It is also going to be max defense and have a Rocky helmet. Toro's Fire is coming. We're slapping a Rocky helmet on that. Hippo is coming. Anyone want to guess? Rocky helmet coming. 4 Rocky helmets. And then Goldengo is going to come. And it's going to come with a scarf. And it's going to be crucial for the Chanpao and the Cerulege. So the Cerulege is really going to get boxed in because his Terra typing is Ghost. The Chanpao could potentially Olay something, but nothing really like super practical going into Terra Ghost. Now, important to note, Thomas just picked up Murkrow, and Murkrow would have gone fucking insane here. If that thing would have showed up with foul play against a fully physical team, full defensive investment, full HP investment, and Eviolite, it would have been some of the best value this league would have ever seen. But it's not on his roster until week 3. All in all, I think Thomas is going to win about 2-0. It'll be competitive though. Eric, how do you see this one?
So, before I give you my take, I have a question. I like the Rocky helmet play, and I'm assuming it's for Chanpao, considering it has no recovery. I mean, one, it can go punching glove if it really wants. It's a pretty reasonable option if you are predicting a Rocky helmet. But why the Rocky helmet on Mimikyu?
On Mimikyu, you have to first get it into the skies, and then you got to hit it again. Now,
those guaranteed. Yeah, I got you.
With Mimikyu, a lot of people run Life Orb, but you lose a little bit of health when you go into the skies, and it's not all that super strong. So to me, Mimikyu is getting its value by more so being a nuisance than more so like attacking you with that Sword Dance Life Orb damage. So just to guarantee that it gets the damage off in full. And then, of course, because it's a ghost type, and I expect Chanpao to be running Sacred Sword. If he runs a band, he's going to have to pivot out just to come back in, and it gives you another turn to build up that Mimikyu.
Okay, got it. Makes sense. I like the 4 Rocky helmet angle. That Dolphin doesn't expect that he's going to be in for a world of hurt, because I'll give you my prediction off the bat, and I'll explain why. I have Davichi winning 5-0.
Oh, nice.
And I don't even think it's going to be relatively close. Chanpao is really the only threat on this team, but all I see is a big fat Dondozo, and I don't see anything on this team hitting it outside of Leafeon and Electros,
Right.
to which you could bring a Gujar with Sap Sipper, and it gets hard countered anyway. So that in itself, those 2 Pokemon can probably put in a bulk of the work. On top of that, like you mentioned, Hippowdon probably does really well if it's max defense, as most of his mons are physical attackers. Same thing for Tauros Blaze. That Intimidate's going to come in really, really handy. I have Goldango coming in this matchup as well. I think going a more offensive set, probably like Scarf, would do really well here as well. Um, I don't think this matchup's going to be close. I think there's a little bit of a skill difference. Maybe it's because of those 50 scrims that they do a week or not. I don't know. And I also think that I don't think Delvin has the tools to break the walls personally.
Yeah, right. Other
5
than
0.
that Chan Pao, there's no real monster offensive option. The Cellular can hit, but it usually requires setup.
Need a
Um,
lot of setup. Even that, like even Hydreigon, it's Dark Dragon, like it counters both of its stabs.
yeah,
Brutal, brutal.
I agreed with you. Like I could see Leafeon coming in this matchup, but I don't know. It's just more of the same. Like there's just too much physical on Dolphin's team, and the fact that he hasn't made any transactions yet is a little bit telling. Like if he doesn't make a move, this isn't going to be a playoff team, and it's not going to be by a close margin. So,
Yep, totally agree with you. I feel like this team really, really would have benefited from picking up Greninja. It's a little unfortunate that obviously another team picked it up, but he would have loved it personally.
yeah,
Yeah.
and there'll be more to
Hopefully,
come with the raids. It's not going to be just like a one massive NatDex release, but it'll be interesting. I'm not the biggest fan on the format. Like I agree that first dibs for these new Mons should definitely be the team that's last in the standings. But when you play fantasy sports, for example, like Mons that were just dropped go back into a subsequent waiver. So say I'm the first guy, I take something. Now I go to back for waiver priority, and then the next guy steps up. But if that next person doesn't use it, they should keep the waiver spot through the rest of that week. So when the rest of the waiver Mons clear, say somebody dropped a viable Mon that you could use, that worser team, that like pretty bad team should get the Mon and not Don Vico, who was literally waiting for the second to put in his transaction request. And if that's going to be the case, like, are we playing again with the transaction cap? Like, somebody's got to murder these people that are just sitting sniping like the hand pick when their team is already good. So that's my 2 cents. But I don't even have a team right now. I'm just looking ahead for when somebody drops. It's probably not going to be a good team.
Yeah, I think the waiver rules need a little work, and maybe we can iron them out a little bit more for next season. But it is what it is for this season. I'm okay with it for now.
Oh yeah, right here, sir.
See that right there? That's the problem with your generation. $1 million move and a 5-cent finish.
You talk a lot of smack for geriatrics. It's a shame you can't back any of it up.
Oh.
Do me a favor. Huh? Hold my nuts.
Oh, Joe, nuts.
All you wannabes out here gonna play like Jordan.
So we trying to Morgan Freeman?
Come on back.
Don't do him like that, Uncle Drew.
All right, next matchup is going to be Drew versus my co-host here, You Lose. So with that said, I'm not going to ask too much out of him for this segment, but there is an interesting angle on this battle. So Drew went ahead. He snagged relatively highly in the draft the pre-evolution for the star of You Lose's team, with that being Annihilate. So I think that Drew's going to build a team here centered around Primeape, which is an OG Mon. But this gen, it got Rage Fist, which is a new move, the signature move of Annihilate. I'm not sure why they didn't just wait to give it to the final evolution, but Primeape's got it, and now it's got Eviolite access. So that's what I have coming for the set. I've got Roaring Moon coming with Booster Energy. I've got Slowking coming with a Kasib berry. And for those of you guys that don't know, that's a berry that will have damage for a super effective ghost type move. Clef Key is going to come with Prankster, Access, and Light Clay as an item to set up screens. Cloister will come as a possible late game sweeper with Shell Smash. And then Dolphin will come for hazard control and setup. I've got Yulu's going to take out a shiny old toy, with that being Halucha, a mon that he really dominated during the regular season with last year. So he knows how to use it. However, he has to play it without terrain access mostly for the season, with a lack of terrain setters. So your options here are mainly Power Herb and White Herb. I think for the matchup here, with Drew's typing being Terra Dark, I think it's going to come with the White Herb activated by close combat more than likely. But expect to see down the line Power Herb with Sky Attack. Annihilate could be ran a couple of ways. I think it's going to be pivotal for you lose to run in multiple ways. So I can see him bringing the Chesto Berry set for this week, just to keep things so that they're not stagnant. Grim Snarl will come with Light Clay for screens. Rotom Heat, I think, is going to be especially defensive variant. Ting Lu is going to complement it. It's going to be max defense. And it has access to body press, which I think could play here in certain scenarios. And then I liked how he used Veluza last week with Fillet Away. I could see him getting that off on the Slow King or potentially the Clef Key, especially if that Clef Key doesn't have T-Wave, which can be scouted for earlier before going into your setup. All in all, though, to me, this is not a really good Drew team. I'm not saying that this isn't a good team, but in Gen 9, it's quite frankly out of the mold. So to me, it's a dinosaur build, and the dinosaurs went extinct. All in all, because of that, I have Yulu's winning 2-0. But I think it's going to be a 2-0 that's closer to the 3-0. Just maybe like a sack to get into a cleaner type deal. But yeah, that's just how I see it. You lose. Let me know if you want to add anything. If not, I'll cut the clip here early.
Yeah, so I have a fun fact for you guys, which is in my research, I didn't realize this, but Primate has 5 additional base speed over Annihilate. So it's base 95 versus base 90, which is a little interesting. Pulling like a Garchomp versus Mega Garchomp, where he loses speed in exchange for like other stats. Yes. Yeah, so I thought that was kind of interesting to see. I'm definitely that Rage Fist Primate is on my radar. I don't think it'll be too much of trouble. The one thing that really concerns me, or at least concerned me during my prep, was the Shell Smash users down there, the Poltergeist and then the Cloister. Those two can run pretty much away with the win if I don't take care of them properly. So I think I have the necessary precautions in for that, but who knows? We'll see.
Right. So speaking of those two options, he used Poltergeist last week against Copy, and there was some nice tech to mitigate it from running away. Cloister to me is the one that I think is going to come, mainly because of its physical, its defense stat is pretty high. Now, in your favor, you lose. You do have a couple of different fighting type options that can kind of nullify that effect. And then Cloister also just doesn't. It has a pretty pitiful special defense stat. So. But he's not going to be able to get up on Rotom Heat. And I could see you really relying heavily on screens that would narrow the distance, even if he does get that Shell Smash up. I don't know, though. To me, like, this isn't a playoff team that you're going against. So I'm expecting you to get your first win this week. And I expect Drew to start making some moves to more so reflect the generation that we're in now.
long can she stay like that?
I don't know.
Sandy's a girl?
Wow, Sandy.
All right, so next matchup looks like we have Dine versus Sandy. And this matchup, I think, is going to be an interesting one, because I think it's going to be a lot closer than it's going to be. In my head, how it's supposed to play out, it's probably going to be a 4-0 win for Sandy. But in reality, knowing Sandy and his taking to liking the most obscure and weird sets, he's probably going to shoot himself in the foot. So it's probably going to be more of like a 1-0, 2-0 victory. Personally, looking at this matchup, I'm looking directly at Volcarona and Iron Hands. Both two mons. Volcarona, literally one Quiver Dance, and we are off to the races in terms of like a sweep. Stein really does not have like a big special wall that wants to eat these hits from Volcarona. Also, there's a couple of mons, such as like Creamtail, Corviknight, especially Corviknight, that really don't want us. It's pretty easy to let Volcarona set up in its face. What I would do is slap a substitute on to prevent some paralyzed hacks from going on. Quiver Dance once or twice, and I think you can sweep. Similarly, Iron Hands, it's even less work, honestly. I can just see like a build like with just for the Corviknight, but everything else, Iron Hands hits everything super hard on this team with really no answer. I think an Assault Vest could come in, just tank hits from Iron Moth and Noivern, and really nothing else. There's no real physical threat on Stein's team that can give this any trouble whatsoever and make it not go Assault Vest, in my opinion. Yeah, no, I think it's going to be 2-0. If I was operating this team, it's probably like a 4 or 5-0.
It's a strong take, but I mostly agree with that. So, like you were saying, that Iron Hands is really going to be pivotal to this matchup. I think Assault Vest, like you said, is the play. It is a possible banned user, but if that is the case, you kind of have to wait for Toadstool to leave the field for it to run rampant and just get that slow pivot. I think Sand ends up bringing Palafin with a bulk up set here. He's got a boner for Knuckle Stack, and I can see it being viable here with Eviolite and some bulk. Volcarona is coming, and I think it's going to be the bulky Quiver Dance set. Belly Bolt, I think, has some play here with Specs and Terra Grass. How do you say that little fucking monkey, the poison monkey? Graphii? I don't know. However the heck you say it, it's coming with Prankster utility. And on the other side of the house, I got Stein. He's definitely bringing Corviknight. I think he's going to put a Rocky helmet on it. To me, like, the key to this matchup, if Stein is to win, is he needs to be able to set up with either Gyarados or Iron Moth. So the Iron Moth set I have coming, it's going to be an agility set. It needs max defense on it so that it doesn't just like go to the moon when it hit by a jet punch. Max special attack, and if it's in a jet punch scenario, it's kind of going to be forced to go into Terra Electric. But the Terra Electric is going to be able to handle that Palafin and absorb the jet punch. The Gyarados set I have coming could also potentially go into that Terra Electric. Now, Gyarados does have electric moves, but they're special attacks, so it's going to want to use that Terra Blast to make it physical. But bulky Dragon Dance, that's kind of interchangeable. That or Iron Moth could be the win con, whatever ends up being the Terra user. Now, I think he ends up bringing Frostlass here, and I think it's crucial it's going to come in, it's going to initially set up hazards, and then if it could bait a Mon Best case scenario would be it baits Iron Hands into a Destiny Bond. But if you can just get any of these threats, it's going to get above value, especially if it gets just like one spike off. If you get a spike and a Destiny Bond on a threat, it more so punches its weight and its decision to come here. It has a couple of moves that can play. It just doesn't hit very hard. So potentially you could get it in just to drop something that's like below like a third health. I have Screamtail coming here. Now there's a couple of things that Screamtail, it could either be a cleric, it could do status, which Stein loves. But I think he's going to put Light Clay on it and try and set up behind screens. And then I have Quagsire coming with Unaware. This could be something that could potentially come in if you can predict. But Sandy has a lot more firepower than seasons past. So Quagsire is not going to have the same durability, but you could potentially get into it on a couple of different plays. All in all, I have Sands winning 1-0, but I agree, like the further we talk about this, the more I see it in Sands' favor. I think Stein's going to start to pick up the slack, but a lot of it is going to be when Greninja and Appleton are going to be playable. So I have it 1-0.
I agree. I'm really curious for the future weeks to see how Stein is able to utilize the Greninja to his favor. I think I have the same criticism as before, though. The only issue with this is it's begging for teams to bring like multiple assault vehicles because there's really no physical threats on his team whatsoever.
It's a fair point, especially after dropping Gyarados.
Yep, exactly.
Lamella, can you please shut the door?
I thought I was out. They pull me back in.
I wanted to fuck a woman, but I compromised. I jacked off in a tissue.
How far is it to Atlantic City? It's the jacket!
Nothing but that, motherfucker.
Oh!
Has he been shot?
Get back.
All right, our matchup of the week. We've got Inner Warrior and Copy, the little ninja, here. So hopefully you saw my saucy intro. Not my original work, but pretty damn good, I thought. These two were supposed to play like 3 or 4 days ago, and then it's gotten stiff-armed by Inner Warrior every single day. He's drawn his line in the sand, and he's standing his ground. So doesn't matter. We can poke him all we want. He's moving when he wants to move. Now, that adds to the matchup. They both had pretty convincing wins the first time out. I think so. Yeah, Copy did. Inner Warrior had a hard-fought game against Dress Down, but still, the strength of schedule definitely plays. I think it's going to be a close game and worthy of being in the spot. So I've got Inner Warrior bringing Tyranitar with special defensive investment. Caesar will come banded. Now we're going to start going into his Terra Normal abusers. He's bringing a couple here. So he's got Dragonite, which if you use Dragon Dance, Earthquake, and E-Speed, that's standard. The only like debate is over the fourth move slot, so I have him bring an Ice Spinner just to kind of handle Garchomp. Toxtricity will come Scarfed and Boom Burst, and if he chooses to use Terra Normal on this, it's gonna put hole in walls. So like this, it doesn't matter if you've got some special bulk. Toxtricity with Boom Burst and Terra Normal, it just blasts things into oblivion. And then the last Terra Normal of user is Heracross with Guts and Facade. It'll be a wall breaker whether or not it goes and uses Terra Normal. But I would be pretty conservative with the Terra Normal use for Inner Warrior. See what's going to be the healthiest and be able to get you to that point. And if something is dinged up, here's your answer right here. So the 6 slot is going to go to Hatterene, and it's going to come with a Healing Wish variant. So whatever you identify as the win con, you'll be able to preserve it longer and try and meet your win con's intent with the Healing Wish fully healing that win con. Now Copy, I have him bringing Low Kicks Banded, and he's going to bob and weave back into First Impression. Garchomp, I like Rocky Helmet, but not with the normal like Dragon Tail set. So I think he's going to bring max health and max speed. Spikes, but not Stealth Rock. So I think he brings Spikes, Earthquake, my favorite move, Outrage, and Fire Blast for the Caesar. Iron Treads will come with a utility set. Sylveon, I think, is going to be the likely Terra Fire user. So it could Olay the Caesar and blast it with Terra Blast Fire. I believe it lost Mystical Access, so it is going to need that Terra Blast slotted for one of its moves. And I've got an interesting set narrowing out, like closing out the team here with Armor Rouge. So that's going to be Iron Defense, Aura Sphere, Flamethrower, Psy Shock, and Expert Belt. Is that only? I think I only gave him 5 mons. The next batch is going to kind of be like the final mon. It's a toss up. Potentially a Moongus. I'm not a big fan of Vaporeon with the matchup, but he doesn't get Gyarados until next week. So if I had to give him a last one, I'd probably give him a Moongus. But how do you see it, Eric?
Personally, I think Vaporeon is a must bring this week, simply because of the ice coverage that it provides versus this Dragonite. I'm viewing Inner Warriors team from the perspective of once Dragonite sets up, it's going to be really, really, really hard to stop it. Personally, I think it's pretty safe. Turn 1, bring in Dragonite. Copy's most likely going into Garchomp or Treads. It's free Dragon Dance setup. Multiscale allows it to just get free setup. And really only an ice type move can really threaten it out without it, really being terrified of getting O-code off the bat. Dragon Dance setup plus a dragon move, probably O-code's Garchomp. I don't actually know the calcs, but if it's going a bulkier set, maybe not. But then it sacrifices attack, so I don't even know if Dragonite is that threatened by the Chomp that much. I think a move that you're forgetting that would be super useful in this matchup is Dual Wing Beat. I personally love that against Amoonguss, and I think it's why Copy doesn't necessarily bring Amoonguss. I don't see Amoonguss doing that much in this matchup. So Dragonite's definitely the biggest win con, and it's not even the Terra normal variant. It's literally Dragonite itself. Just kind of tears through this team. On top of that, you have a scissor who can, when banded, also tear through this team. The combination of bullet punch plus a U-turn, and even throwing a superpower of Ryan Shreds, really, it has a lot of coverage that hits Copy's team. Hatterene, I agree with you, also is going to come with a Healing Wish. For if you go turn 1 Dragonite, you're probably going to be a little bruised and busted up. Bring it back up to full. Obviously has heavy duty boots, not life orb. So, we bring it up and you maintain the multi-scale regardless of hazards. And on the flip side, Copy, I mean, it's kind of rough. Like, I don't see that many options in terms of winning this game. The only thing is I could totally see a banded low kicks putting in a lot of work here. I think it hits a lot of things very hard, and not a lot of things want to eat a first impression banded. Armorers, what's that ability it has where you get speed?
Weak armor.
Is it weak? Yeah, I can definitely see that. Plus the combination of iron defense, I think that's a pretty cool set that you thought through.
And it doesn't
That's
have bad
potentially
defense either. It's just not a good typing.
not a great typing. Good offensive typing, not great defensively whatsoever. I don't know. I'm a huge fan of the Fairy Steel Dragon core that Copy has going. I just think Dragonite kind of tears through it all. I have 2-0 Inner Warrior in this matchup, but it's a convincing 2-0.
I have it the same way, 2-0 Inner Warrior. And, at the end of the day, if you win, you can go bully little kids on the internet and make them take 5 days in a row to finally play a game. But, definitely deserving to be the matchup of the week.
Yeah, rumor has it.
What's the rumor?
Yeah, rumor has it they're playing tonight, so who knows if that gets postponed again. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, this is going to take me so long, first time editing, to upload. I'm just hoping that we get it up tonight at all, but should have a few hours here editing to go, but I'm trying to really jazz it up. So, again, I'm disappointed in Sandy, but really we're not surprised at this point. So if he can't make it, we have the means to churn out an episode with some editing ourselves. So, you got any final thoughts?
Let's go Rangers. Hoping for a stronger second coming after the All-Star break. It's been a pretty rough season, but hoping we turn it around.
I mean, they're pretty solidified in the 6th seed right now, but I agree with the talent on the roster.
Not good enough.
The Bruins, bro. I don't know what the fuck.
It's not good enough, Lou. Got to do better.
Yeah, I agree. Alrighty, we'll see you in a couple of days for power rankings. Till next time, y'all. Later.
I got a feeling that it's time to let go. sus